Hi everybody, welcome to part 3 of the professional communications lecture. Today in this little mini lecture we're going to be talking about tools of the PR professional, and particularly we're going to be talking about the media release. So traditionally the media release has been the principal tool of PR practice. It's designed to look like a news story, and therefore the values and style and all the formal elements to it, the quotes, the lead, and all those sort of things need to replicate what a news story looks like. So it also needs to be highly newsworthy, and for an effective PR practitioner must think and write like a journalist. So like a news story, before you write a press release, you need to think about why you're writing this press release. What are the goals and objectives? Are you trying to get people to act in a certain way? Are you trying to get people to consume something, to buy a product? Are you trying to get people to vote for you, to make them aware of a particular policy or a particular initiative? You really need to have that objective strongly in mind. Then you need to think about who you want to reach. Are these established stakeholders? Are they new stakeholders? Is it the mainstream media? Is it the mainstream public? Is it a particular demographic? So what section of the publication do you want to target? So some stories might be for a sports audience, and therefore you're trying to attract the sports media, or news media, or courts, or political stories, or something like this. I guess if we're thinking about getting your press release into the mainstream media, what you need to do before you approach the media is to be able to answer as many questions that they might have about that particular story. And you also got to know and to realise and to be able to understand and articulate why that information is newsworthy. So again, before writing a news release, you need to think about an angle or a hook, just like writing a news story. So this could be inspiring stories that overcome challenges, could be new research, could be milestones achieved, the launch of a new product, the announcement of a new policy, an industry forecast. And you see these things perennially in the news media, and this is what I really need you to do, which I can't get you to do, but I need you to always be consuming the media, so you can see, after at each quarter the Reserve Bank will make an announcement. And that announcement will come in the form of a press release and then a press conference from the Reserve Bank governor, and it will generate a plethora of news stories. Or, at the end of every public holiday, there'll be a story about road accidents. How many people were injured on the roads, and if that was up and down all last year, or all those sort of things. The news is very cyclic, and media releases come out all the time. So you need to kind of be aware of this. You need to know how those rhythms work. This is just an example of a news release. You can look at the UTAS website as a good starting point, just to see how many are there, and see what sort of events and initiatives are uncovered. And universities, are very active in promoting all their research and all the different things that they do, because they need to always be making sure that they have a very strong and positive public image. So how do we write these things? At its most material, we want to keep things in the present tense. So quotes, you said, keep the language simple, direct, and factual. Again, don't express opinions. It's not your opinion. You are, in a way, media releases are possibly more formally written nowadays than news stories are. News stories, as you're probably aware, opinion creeps into them quite a bit, and they're getting longer and longer and becoming more sort of mixed up with the kind of column and opinion genre. But media releases can't really do that. Think about avoiding adjectives if you can. Try and write without adjectives. Try and be like someone like Hemingway, who never wrote with adjectives. So try and not use adjectives. Try and avoid the passive voice. And then there are all these other styles, like using simplified numbers, use analogies and all that kind of thing. They're highly scrutinised objects. Journalists will highly scrutinise media releases, and often they will publish them verbatim as well. So they need to be really, really well constructed. They need to be beautifully constructed, actually. Um, Newspaper stories can go through sub-editing processes, so little mistakes can be ironed out there. But often media releases will there'll be a sense that they've already been proofread and already been checked, so they will just go straight through. So they need to be pretty clean. There's format and structure. This varies between different organisations, but there are particular things that you need to have. If you're writing in the inverted pyramid style, to keep those intros nice and short and all that sort of thing. But you need to have all these different things, and it's amazing when we do the press release exercise how many people miss these things out. So date and time, title, location, and all these kind of things. Contact details, all this sort of formal stuff. And in other classes that I've had, I often get journalists and talk, and I ask them, how do people get their stories into the press, and they always say, look, a well written press release with strong contact details and a good photo will you can't go wrong with that. And often you'll read something really interesting and then they won't have the right contact detail, or they won't have a phone number, or all these sort of things. This is very important stuff. That they are they're objects that need very careful attention. Okay, that's it for this lecture. I hope you enjoyed the new format with us breaking it down into 3 smaller lectures, and I will talk to you next week. Thanks, bye.